Hi everyone, and welcome to the Native Teams channel. My name is Barbara, and today we're here to discuss a very important topic for all of you freelancers, remote workers, and small business owners out there, which is how to create an invoice to bill your clients and collect your earnings. So, grab a coffee, get comfy, and let's get started. Now, I know that paperwork might not be the most exciting part of your day, but mastering the art of creating polished invoices is one of the most important things when building a successful career in the global geek marketplace. Imagine you've put in all the hard work, delivered top-notch results, and now it's time to collect your hard-earned money from your clients. This is where invoicing comes in. It's like a pass to make sure you're getting paid for all of your efforts. When working in a dynamic freelance world and serving clients from all around the world, knowing how to create an invoice isn't just a skill, it's more of a necessity. Invoices are important for more than just one reason, like, for example, keeping you compliant in the global marketplace, making you appear more professional as well as reliable, and many, many more. Also, let's not forget about the practical side of things. Invoicing isn't just about getting paid, it's about getting paid on time. For example, many freelancers are managing multiple gigs at the same time, which complicates the money collecting process even more. So if you know how to whip up a professional invoice, you can collect your client payments right in time and hold your cash flow together without using any fancy software to automate the invoicing process. So, whether you're a newbie in the freelancing world or you just want to pick up a few useful tips to elevate the process of billing your clients, make sure to stick around and discover all the details of how to invoice like a pro. Now that we've learned the importance of invoicing, it's time to introduce each of the components and see what a professional invoice looks like. So let's get started. This here is our invoicing template, which we divided into 3 parts. First, we've got the header, which serves as an introduction as well as the first impression for our clients. It is reserved for your personal details, for your logo, the date, the invoicing number, as well as all the details of the client that you're billing. The second part of the invoice is reserved for the billing itself. Here you can describe all of your services, add all the prices you want to charge, add any possible discounts, tax rate, any shipping fees, and of course the total amount that you're billing. And in the last part, you can include your payment instructions, payment details, and any other notes you might have for your client. And there you have it. This is pretty much everything a good invoice should include, and if you stick around, we are going to create one together. Alright, so I went ahead and I already filled out this example invoice for us. Let's say that I'm a graphic designer, I have my own company called Barbara Designs, and I had to create a new logo for a company in Slovenia. This is how I would fill out the invoice for them. I already mentioned that the header of the invoice serves as an introduction, so the first thing I filled out was my personal information. So I filled out my company name, Barbara Designs, my address, my phone number, as well as my email address. Now, if you don't have a company name, you should just add your full name, so your first name and your last name. Once you finish adding all your personal information, it's time to upload your logo in the right corner. Logos serve as a visual representation of your business, and having one on your invoices will make you appear more professional and reliable, give the document a dose of unique brand identity, and reinforce your image in front of your clients. Next, just below your logo, don't forget to add the date, the invoice number, and the payment terms. In the date section, you should add the date when your invoice is sent to your client. The invoice number is your invoice's unique ID to ensure that there are no mix-ups in the billing process. In the payments terms section, you should include important billing terms such as, for example, the due date for paying out your invoice. You can see that I added the due date in 1 month since I sent out the invoice, just to make sure I will receive my payment in time. Now, we're moving down to the client information section. Here, you should fill out the recipient's details, including the name of the client, their company name, their address, and their phone number. This part ensures that your invoice lands in the right hands and gives your client all the information they need for the record. Now, we're moving to the most important part of your invoice, the list of all the services you have provided. This section is basically a breakdown of your work for the specific client, including a separate line for each of the services you're billing. So make sure you accurately fill in all the details, including a description of your services, quantity, unit price, and the grand total for that particular item. You can see that I added my logo design with the unit price of 100 euros. Once you fill in all the details about your services, it's time to do the math. Under the subtotal section, you should calculate the sum of all of your items that you listed above, which in our example remains 100 euros. The next part is reserved for any applicable tax fees. Taxes usually depend on the country and the nature of your business, so make sure that you're well informed about your tax liabilities to stay compliant and avoid any potential legal issues. Just as an example, I added the tax rate of 10%, which is 10 euros in our case. Next, you want to add any additional costs associated with the service you've provided, such as, for example, handling or shipping fees. And once you fill out all this information, it's time to calculate the balance or the total amount your client needs to pay for your services. In our case, that's 110 euros. Now that you're done with calculations, it's time to fill in your payment details, including your name, account number, and other relevant payment details. Some invoice templates might feature an additional notes section, where you can include special terms or a simple friendly thank you message. Now at this point, you have successfully created a professional invoice and you're all set to collect your client payments. Now, if you're looking for a solution that will spare you from making manual invoices and simplify the entire billing process for you, I've got an exciting alternative. Let me introduce you to Native Teams, the all-in-one platform that provides freelancers, remote workers, and business owners with all the solutions they need to work on the global market. You're probably wondering what makes the Native Teams client invoicing tool different from any other template you can find online. Well, there's more than just one reason for that. For example, if you're a freelancer working on the global gig marketplace, you certainly know about the payment struggles and hassles that are typical when dealing with international transactions. The Native Teams platform is designed to streamline all of your client payments into a single centralized platform where you have the flexibility to request client payments, invoice your global clients, manage your income from a multi-currency digital wallet, and even get yourself a secure Native Teams card which can be used for online and in-store transactions anywhere in the world. Through the Native Teams invoicing tool, you can legally send invoices to any client out there without the need to open your own legal entity in your country. This will give you the security that your invoices will be promptly and accurately paid out as they are sent through the Native Teams legal entities present in over 60 countries around the world. This also means that you don't have to worry about any paperwork and compliance issues, as Native Teams has your back for everything related to your local labor laws. Now, let's get into the platform and explain the steps of how you can invoice your clients through Native Teams. Okay, so we are now logged into the Native Teams platform, which features a user-friendly interface that is designed to provide each user with the simplicity and flexibility they need to work, including the process of invoicing global clients. To create an invoice using the Native Teams platform, head to the Payment section on the left side of the dashboard. When you click on Payments, you'll see a drop-down menu that is split into three sections: Wallet, Invoices, and Payment Request. Click on the Invoices option to access the Native Teams invoicing tool. Here, you can start creating your invoice from scratch using the pre-programmed options that simplify the entire process. Now let's click on Create Invoice, where we can fill out our first invoice. The From field is always automatically filled with your name, while in the To field you should include the recipient of the invoice. You can also choose someone from your contacts, which removes the need to add the client details each time you want to send them an invoice. If you're invoicing a client for the first time, you can easily add their details directly from the invoicing tool by clicking on the Add Content button. From here, you'll be taken to a new section where you can easily fill in all the information so you don't have to manually add them each time you want to send them an invoice. Okay, now let's fill this one together. Now let's say that my client is a tech solution company from Slovenia and I want to send them an invoice. Let's fill all the information out. Here we go! Now it's added. The next step is to add the issue and due dates of your invoice and select the preferred currency you want to get paid in. Now let's get to the most exciting part of the invoice, which is filling in the details of the services you have provided. When you click on the Add Item button, you get redirected to a section where you can easily add details about your services and the amount you want to charge. Native Themes also gives you the option to attach any files related to the services you have provided directly from your device, or simply choose a file saved in your native documents. So let's say that I am a graphic designer and I created a new logo for this company. I will add logo design as my item, quantity 1, and I want to charge 100 euros for it. Here we go. Now it's in the invoice. Now, in the last part of the invoice, you can select whether you want to include your name in the invoice and if there are any surcharges applicable to your service. Surcharges are basically fees you can add to cover specific costs, such as credit card processing fees or late payment fees. When using the Native Themes invoicing tool, surcharges will be listed as a separate item in your invoice so that you can ensure better transparency and clarity for your clients when they're paying out your receipt. Now, when you're done with your invoice and you're done with filling in all the required fields, just click on Next button to review and confirm the details of your invoice. If you want to edit your invoice once again, you can click on the Back button and continue adding, removing, or changing any of the details in the fields. Once you review your invoice details and you're happy with what you've done, just click on Send Invoice button. And now you're all set to receive your payment in the Native Themes wallet. Congrats! You've made it to the part where you've mastered the art of crafting a professional client invoice. However, make sure to stay a few more minutes because I'll be sharing a few practical tips to ensure that your invoices are sent, received, and processed smoothly, timely, and accurately. So let's get into it. Now, most freelancers fill in the invoice issue date and skip the due date part, not knowing that this can cause a delay in collecting their earnings. Providing a due date gives your client a deadline, which serves as a timeline they should follow. Without providing a due date, you just have to hope that your client will pay you in time. Obviously, you can't force your client to pay by the due date you set, but you can increase your chances of receiving your earnings on time when you include one. Common invoice timeframes include from 15 up to 90 days, however, it makes sense to keep the timeframe as short as possible. Whatever you decide, we would advise you to discuss with your client ahead of time so that they know exactly when you expect to get paid. Even if you do include a due date in your invoice, you can add an additional layer of protection from delayed payments by including a late payment fee. Late payment fees are not only a good way to collect your earnings in a timely manner, but they'll also encourage your clients to spare themselves from being exposed to additional fees and hence make timely payments. As with other invoicing related topics, don't forget that it's important to discuss late payment fees with your client ahead of time before sending out your first invoice. You can also include late payment fee terms in your contract so there are no questions or surprises from your client's side. If you're part of the freelancing world, you probably know that misunderstandings can happen, especially when you work on multiple projects and for multiple clients at the same time. This is one of the main reasons why you should number your invoices, so when a client has a question, you can easily find and refer to the right invoice, but also allow a more transparent and organized invoice tracking for yourself. Finally, as much as a sleek and beautiful invoice will make you appear more professional, you might also want to appear friendly to build long-lasting relationships with your clients. For this purpose, including a professional thank you note in your invoices will aid a dose of friendliness and great customer service, which can have a pretty great impact on how your clients perceive you. And there you have it. Whether you choose to create your invoices in the manual way or through the Native Themes platform, you're on the right track to smoother invoicing and faster client payments. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and explore the Native Themes platform to discover all of our solutions to help you freelance and work globally. Thank you for watching and see you next time. Ciao!